Hello and welcome to KidLit Meet and Greet, hosted by Lori Keating and April Berry. I'm April Berry, and I am super excited today to introduce you to my good friend, Amy Chini. If you don't know who she is, you will soon because she is amazing. She's one of my favorite KidLit creators. We met a couple years ago. She was one of the first KidLit creators I ever connected with. And I just feel very fortunate that our paths have crossed because not only is she an amazing Kidlit creator and has all this talent and skill, but she is an amazing person, just a beautiful soul. So I'm
Thank
really excited to introduce all of you to my friend Amy. Amy,
thank you.
welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited and happy to be spending my morning with you in this way. This is such a neat thing you guys are doing.
And I was so excited when you said yes when I asked you to come on. So this is
Yeah,
good.
good.
Yeah. Can we start off? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Amy Keeney. I live in San Diego, California, with my partner and our two kids. I've got a 13-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. Well, she'll be 6 by the time this video runs. She's 5 still. Um, let's see. I started writing kind of with a more seriousness when my daughter started TK a couple of years ago. It opened up a lot of my time. And so I'm like, this is the time for it, like time for me to get something rolling. So I've been working on mostly picture books, but I have a couple of ideas for some middle grade and chapter book stories percolating. Um, when I'm not working on that, I work as kind of a back end admin person for a feng shui school and do freelance design. And I've built some websites and I'm learning a little bit of coding to kind of expand those skills. And it's kind of what I do.
My goodness, you're way more creative than I even realized. Because you also have a background in theater.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my background is in mostly in props. I worked in local theater here in San Diego and at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival as the props manager and did a little bit of playwriting here in town and some scenic design, but mostly my work was in props.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's
Very
been
cool.
fun.
So you write for children and you illustrate for children. Which one came first for you, the words or the art?
Ooh, yeah, right now I'm expanding on my illustration skills. So I think probably the words have come first. Historically, if I think back to, being a kid and that, I've always done both. I've always loved to draw and create art, and I've always loved to write, but I never really married those things until starting doing picture books. Right now, when I'm working, I think words usually come first. And then if I have an idea or think that my skill set and style match what I've written, I've been trying and practicing the illustration. So that's been a lot of fun. Adding Procreate to my toolbox. So many agents right now want author illustrators. So, I think amping up my skills where I'm kind of on writing that line right now is feeling good and like I'm adding value to myself. And so that's been good.
Well, and you have such a talent for it. I mean, at both ends, really.
Thank you.
So I was going to ask if you have other creative outlets, interests, and hobbies, but I think we kind of covered that, unless there's more that you need to
I mean,
share.
honestly, I felt so disconnected from my other creative interests kind of since my kids have been born, if I'm honest. I always like to play music. I've been doing that a little bit more. I like to cook. Like you said, I like to make things with my hands. So if I get a chance to do that, but I don't have a whole lot of time for any of the other fun stuff I like to do.
Yeah. Motherhood is busy. Even when the kids are in school, I'm
Yeah,
always surprised when people say, well, what do you do with all your free time? I'm like, who has
I
free time?
exactly.
How did you set your sights on becoming a Kidlit creator? What pushed you in that direction?
Uh, like I was saying, I kind of always have loved writing and creating visual stuff. I think I just really am a visual person. So when I'm writing, I'm thinking in a visual way of a story. So I feel like I was always probably going to do both of those things at once. I think most of my historic writing has been poetry, playwriting, which is also another visual thing. But I kind of woke up like a handful of years ago with an idea for a picture book, kind of as it like complete, um, as a complete story. So I wrote that, and then it just kind of set me on a path to try more things, and it's so much fun. And that's kind of how I, became on the path and met you and doing it.
Right. And now we're doing it together.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Where do your ideas come from, Amy?
You know, all these contests we've been doing, they ask about personal connection, has had me thinking about that a lot, because I feel like sometimes my ideas come from just random phrases or words that just pop into my head that I think are funny. And then I'm like, oh, like it just gives me ideas. So sometimes I feel like it's random, but some things come from my life. I have a more SEL sort of book about grief and pet loss. That's right from, my family life. I have an informational picture book manuscript about rainwater catchment, which you know of. That comes from my educational background is in environmental studies and permaculture. So I have the idea of writing some permaculture books, and that's kind of my first jump into picking something out of that body of knowledge and trying to make it kid friendly and fun.
What are some of the biggest challenges you've run into, and how have you dealt with those?
I think time consistently is my biggest challenge. I think finding any to begin with and then managing it effectively once I have any. I think having a critique group, which I'm lucky enough to be in one with you, has been just instrumental. It gives me a reason to show up with work done and be accountable to other people. And that's always been helpful for me. And I think, this week I've really been trying to write things down. This day I want to complete these tasks because so much of the time my energy is just pulled, in fun social ways. But if I have something I'm supposed to do, it's like, no, I got to do this today. I'm not going to be having my energy pulled quite as much. So that's been really helpful to me too.
Good on you. I find it hard to be that intentional too.
It's hard. It's not instinctual for me to, manage time.
Same. So I know you're into the picture books. Are there other genres that you lean towards?
Yeah, I am hoping to jump into some middle grade, and I've got something kind of chapter book working right now. I think what I come up with a lot in picture book creation is that I'm pretty wordy. My manuscripts are always long, and I just find myself bumping up against that feeling and not always wanting to sacrifice the language and what I think is beautiful for brevity. And even though I love picture books and I always will work on them, I feel like having somewhere to just really kind of let my words flow and craft language in a different way will be fun for me.
Absolutely. I could picture that. Yeah. What atmosphere do you prefer when you're creating? I picture you being a music playlist person.
Well, I don't know that I have an ideal spot. I can work happily at home. I can work in a coffee shop. I think as long as noise isn't being directed at me, like my kids asking me for things, I don't mind noise. But I do find when I'm home working, it's usually quiet. I was looking at, I'm blanking on her name, but another KidLit creator who makes playlists for each of her books that she works on. And I thought that was such a cool idea. And I kind of tried to do that, like, oh, what music is feeling inspirational? And I just noticed I trailed off with it. So I think I just sit there and quiet most of the time, actually.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. What has been the most helpful for you for getting your story submission ready?
My critique group, 100%. I think, having a group of people and multiple backgrounds, multiple different experiences with their writing, like helping you have a story make sense outside of your own head is amazing. And then just helping polish things, especially when there's contests and things coming up. It's just been so great. People are so willing to look at your work, and I feel like I can take feedback pretty well. So it's just been really helpful to have straightforward critique partners who will just say what needs to be said. And yeah, that's been great. I've had a couple of, critiques I've paid for, which have been helpful in their own way also. But I think just the core group of people constantly looking at the work is number one.
The KidLit community in general, they are all so fantastic.
Yeah.
Such a giving group in general.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So what is your long-term dream as a KidLit creator?
Oh, can I talk about my short-term dream first?
Yes. I'll take all of it.
I think my immediate goal and dream would be to find an editorial agent who I clicked with, who would want to partner with me, wouldn't mind some weird stories, and to get some books published. I think that I would love to be able to write full time, meaning make money from it. But I think my long-term overarching goal is just to find for myself and to show my kids that joy in your work is important, and that finding work that is life-giving is the most important thing. I think just there's too much messaging out there that work is a chore, and I would love to transform that for myself and for my family.
I love it. I like it a lot. What projects are you most excited about right now?
I'm querying a picture book, an informational picture book right now. It's called Biscuit versus Scone, and that's been so much fun to work on. It's just kind of different than other things I've written, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to just jump in once the contest kind of settled down, and my time for the year is a little more open. I feel like jumping into something longer format is feeling exciting to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? A couple fun questions for you.
Okay.
What is something you can't live without, and why?
Books. I wouldn't want to live without books. Rainy days, music probably, but my family. But if I can steal from Jennifer Lofgren, she always asks at the end of her podcast what you're obsessed with. And I think my obsession right now is mud water matcha. I brought my canister so that I can show you what I'm talking about. This is just like a mushroom-based matcha. And it's just so delightful and cozy. And on the mornings where I'm kind of struggling to get up and I think about it, it like gives me a little like hope and optimism. So that's something that I just have been loving incorporating into my day right now.
And it's probably the perfect beverage to go with those rainy days that you said you love.
It's true. I don't have a whole lot of them here in Southern California, but I do love them when they come.
That probably makes it more special because you don't have as many of them.
It's true. It doesn't become oppressive, but they are my favorites.
Mine too. If you could be any animal, what would you choose and why?
I would choose to be a crow. I think crows are intuitive, they're intelligent, they're great problem solvers. They are solitary, but they're also really protective of their community. That feels kind of right for me. And they straddle that line between kind of like the spiritual realm and physical. For me, they feel kind of magical and witchy, and I like that in that way. And I never forget a face, and crows have facial recognition. So I think a crow.
I like it. I like crows. I remember once when my middle child was in first grade, they would bring home little books to read from school. And we read a book about crows once. And I remember being very impressed at how smart they are and how they're solitary, but they also take care of each other. And it was just really cool. I was like, oh, yeah, crows are so misunderstood.
They're neat.
Very cool. Well, tell everyone where they can find you online and social media.
Okay. I'm on Twitter at Amy Keaney. If you happen to just be listening to this, Keaney is Chini, spelled like zucchini. So Amy Keaney at Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Amy Keating Writes. I'm on Blue Sky, but that's kind of fledgling. It's amykeeney.bsky.social. And then my website is amykeeney.com.
Very cool. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And we're going to have to talk again sometime.
Definitely. Thanks,
All
April.
right. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Let's see if I can figure out how to stop our recording this time. Oh, I found it. Bye, everyone.